What's good with YouTube? Y'all already know Big Flacco from a convict's perspective. Where I'm gonna smash, dash, slide on through with a little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel, and hit that bell notification for future fire content. Before we get to this content, man, yesterday, fun times, man. It's always fun when you can get someone who thinks they're so almighty active, right? That they're all with the shit. They try to use their metaphors. They try to justify everything that they can. They try to act like there's no fucking tarnish stains on their fucking jacket. All that stuff, right? Thank you, Bozo. You know, we already have about 3-4 channels that have already posted stuff on you, confirming the lies that you tell in your stories. So hey, just because someone's a dropout doesn't mean that they're not creditable and have accurate information. And just because someone is a self-proclaimed active general doesn't mean everything that they say should be even looked at with honor or merit. Anyways, let's get to this topic, man. We're going to be discussing something a YouTuber reached out to me and said, man, can you do a story on a particular individual? And I said, you know what? I'll do the best of my ability, right? So I asked them to give me as much information as they could. So here's a disclaimer. If anything is wrong, man, it's not done out of disrespect. I did the best of my ability, but the story is based upon, you know, a true believer. And as I always say, most of us are true believers till we're not. But this story ends kind of sad, man. It's a little bit different, man. It doesn't add like with your typical change your life, or doesn't add with a story of him doing anything fucking faulty or anything like that, right? So let's get to it, man. We're going to talk about an individual named Ralph Avina, also known as Turtle from Parkland Boys. Now, he went to Hawaii at a young age, and real quickly he contributed everything to him becoming a man, like learning how to shave and conduct himself, to that of the homies. Like, he didn't have those role models in his life. His life was the gang, the streets, and whatnot, okay? Now, he eventually landed himself at a young age in DVI, right? And he eventually was pulled as a Nortenos soldado. Now, he also had another brother that was from Parkland Boys, right? Known as Grinch. Who I guess was a straight hitter, right? About the gang life, and later became a Northern Rider. I believe this individual may be housed in Mill Creek, right? Maybe not. Not too sure about that, though. Now, we'll get to his death in a minute, right? But let's just talk about those homeboys, man, that come in, that they're striving. You know, that they go to the full extent, ready to sacrifice. They come from that old cloth, right? And at any moment, they're ready to go. And there was a lot of individuals like that I met throughout my career, man. And before the dirty politics and the corrupt individuals and the betrayal came into play, there was a lot of good dudes I met over the years on these main lines, you know, or in the hole or in the shoe, you know. Fred Dog, Fernando Gonzalez from Salinas, man. Straight solid ass carnal. Passed away from cancer. I think 2004, I believe. Fabian Diaz, Lucky for Metalsphere from Sanjo. He was also a Norteño soldado for a long time. I worked with him several times. He was actually one of my RAs before in San Quentin. Passed away in a car crash. Now, he had his struggles with certain things in his life, right? But he was a good dude right there, man. Another one that was a believer when he was behind the walls. Jesus Chuy Soto from fucking Caparamos, man. Good, solid youngster. I was in the hole with him, man. He's one of those ones that was out there handling his business. Actually, a dude that did get off when he was on the main line, when we were in a prison where it was pretty much dominated with Southsiders and stuff, right? He passed away shortly after when he got out. He was that young, maybe like 20 years old, man. He wasn't on in soldado, but he was a straight rider hitter out there on the streets and in prison. The homie also Ozen, man, from my hood out there from Milpitas, right? He was killed in Mexico City, man, and the parent pretty much looked like a setup from the cops, man. He was out there rocking with NOR Records and Ball and Blanco and all those cats, man, on the run for a high-profile case out there in South Carolina, Virginia area, right? Another dude, man, that I've known for a long time that was definitely good heart, man. One of those people that you want to be around, man. So, you know, this video is for those, man, that you've lost, man, that were good individuals in whatever way of life that they lived. Not just as homeboys, but just good individuals. Because, see, you can sit there and say someone's a good homeboy, but are they a good individual? And a lot of times, right, there's a difference. A good individual or good soldado is different. A good individual comes from how they act from their heart. right? A good soldado is one that just acts in accordance to what's expected because they either follow their guidelines, their laws, and their commitments. But there's a difference. When they're a good individual, they come from the heart, man. And this individual that sent me this information, man, you know, doesn't want this person to be forgotten, man. So I'm doing the best of my ability, man. But for those of you out there, I don't care if you're from up north, down south, the dudes that you rock with, whatever cause you believe in, whatever hood you from, right? You guys all know what I'm talking about. There are those, man, that will be missed, man, that really had good intentions, that were really righteous. And there's also going to be those that we already know that they were busted from the get-go. But let's not forget those that, regardless if they were active or inactive, right? However they went out or didn't go out, let's not forget these individuals, man, because you know what? They are individuals we share memories with in the past. So let's get back to it, man. So this individual, right, like I said, he was a hermano, and he was one of those dudes that was willing to sacrifice. The individual gave me several examples. Like there was one time that he was there, and 4 months to the house, an individual that was a target at one time, which was a wolf pack named Jeremy Jones, who I personally know of, right? Know a lot of people that know him, and he is a beast. He's with it. He's with the shit. And even though this guy was set to go home and was an soldado turtle, right? He was still ready to make that sacrifice, and had reported it to the oil, which they asked these guys to stand down. Okay, that's the type of soldado that he was, and you don't see a lot of individuals like that. I remember me being the authority in charge, right? And I'm using this as an example. And I'm on a parole violation or whatnot, and we didn't really have the manpower on one of the yards in the oil because there's two sides of the yard 4, right? Individual had to go, Chino Perry from Manteca, and the homeboys started taking off on him after I ordered him removed, right? And they couldn't get him. You know what I'm saying? They had him, but then he fought back. He's a beast. So even though I'm the authority in charge, even though I'm not supposed to get involved in any of that kind of stuff, right? I had to lead by example. I jumped in. You know what I'm saying? Jumped in. We was able to put him down. And then from there, luckily I was able to do it when it was off tape. You know what I'm saying? I ended up winning my 115 and getting put back out there on the yard. But that's the type of like sacrifices people have to be willing to make. They can't say, well, oh, I'm about to go home, or oh, I'm in position. No, sometimes you have to act. You have to show by example. And sometimes what's expected is not always what you need to do. Okay? Now this individual was killed in 2017 at the Midway Market in South Modesto. Okay, around 11:30 p.m. Now, according to the individual who told me this story, right? The sad thing about this situation is that he had a brother named Grinch who would clean up out there on the streets, right? And apparently failed to do so. And later on, I guess he became a Norteno rider. Now, I don't know if he was convicted or if there's just rumors out there that circulated. It's just hearsay. But he's apparently locked up. Allegedly, he may have been the potential one who actually murdered his brother on this night. Which, if true, man, it's crazy. Because you have one that was a straight, firm believer in the ideologies and cause and, you know, everything that pretty much coveted the ways of which a soldado was supposed to conduct himself. Then you have the other that was part of a, you know, what you would consider a degenerate faction, you know what I mean? One that goes against the grain, one that has issues with active homeboys pushing the line, you know, and they're brothers and from the same hood, and yet one of them's dead now. Anyways, man, this homeboy asked me to do this video, and you know, I guess people that know who I'm talking about, man, know that definitely this dude was a believer, man, and was cut from a different cloth. And it makes me think back to a lot of the homeboys that I met throughout the years, like the Half Day from Santa Rosa, the Nortenos from Green Pass, Carlitos from Sanjo, Lucifer from Watson, Chuco from Stockton, Travieso from Modesto, Hulan from Sakura, Tops from Vallejo, Sneaky from Eastside Mata, Rascal from San Fran, DK from Marin, Monster from Sanjo 12th Street, Black Steve from 12th Street, Charlie Campa from Hollister, Huicho from Sanjo. The list goes on and on of individuals, some in good, some in bad, some alive, some dead, man. We don't forget where we come from, though, man. Like I said, a lot of memories were created and a lot of stuff happened back in the days, man, that We were on those front lines, really pushing that line. When you talk about representatives and leaders, a lot of those are the names I just mentioned. In some form or capacity, they were either on the front line or they were helping lead the people forward, man. And people get forgotten, man. Regardless of how people sometimes may have gone out, that's sometimes above everybody's pay grade and understanding. Okay? But not every one of those names is in bad standings either, though. Bubba from Salas. Wino from Salas. Gabe Carachoa from Salinas. I remember being on the 6 yard with Lucifer and Half Dead, and I think Listo from Santa Rosa, and we were talking. We had a good solid 20 people on that yard, right? About 10, 12 hermanos at the time, right? And we were saying, you know what? They take this group that we have right here and put us on any yard that we don't have established. And that's 20, we're going to establish that yard. And if anybody would have told us to put on our shirts, cut our hairs, or whatnot, they would have seen how strong, calculated, and dangerous the 20 of us were on that yard. That said, man, shouts out to the homeboy, Turtle from Parkland Boys. I'm out.